Good morning, garden friends. My name is Carla and I am in Northeast Tennessee, which is zone 6B, 7A. We're kind of right on the line. And I am up and out in the garden this morning before I have even had my coffee, but I'm having it now because I'm going to do some self-pollinating for my corn. So let me set my coffee down. So you can see behind me here, this is my corn. I have glass gem and I have a red corn. It's a sweet red corn. I can't think of the name of it right now, but I'll put it on the screen whenever I edit the video. So a viewer pointed out to me that you're really not supposed to put corn together, different kinds of corn. And so I guess I knew that on some level, but I didn't think about it when I planted it. And so after I planted it and it started coming up, it was too late to do anything about moving it. So I am going to have to self-pollinate just to ensure that the corn on the stalk that is for each individual corn, either the glass gem or the red corn, is actually pollinated by the male portion of the plant of that plant so that I don't get a mixed breed corn. So let's turn around and look at the corn. So this first little patch right here is the glass gem corn, and it has not developed any male parts or female parts just yet. I can see the very beginnings of the female coming up right here, and there's no sign of the male parts that I can see just yet, but I believe this is the beginning of one right here. Get out. These dogs love coming into the garden and causing trouble. I have a very hard time keeping them out. Anyway, back to what I was saying. So the male part of the corn is called an anther. And you can see over here the red corn already has developed some. And that is what these are. So, and I'm not going to shake it, but these little things right here are what produces pollen. And so when the wind blows and the pollen is released from the anther, it falls down into the places where your corn is starting to grow, and it falls on the silks. Let me get a closer look at that. So when the pollen falls down onto these silks, that is how the corn gets pollinated. But what is incredible about corn is that each one of these silks, every individual silk, goes to a corn husk. And if that silk is not touched by some pollen, then you won't have a corn kernel right there. So have you ever had an ear of corn and you got to looking at it and there's places on it where it's missing the corn kernels? Like you'll have some at the top and down at the bottom there won't be any, or you'll have some pretty much all over and then there will be a strip where there is no corn kernels. Well, that's because every one of those individual corn kernels were attached at one point to a silk on a corn plant. And somehow those did not get pollinated. So we're going to try to ensure pollination for these, and we're going to do a little bit of hand pollination, and I'm going to show you how to do that. There's actually a couple different ways, but I'm going to show you how I do it. And then I'll tell you a little bit about how some other people do it. Now the best time to pollinate these are between the hours of 8 and 9 from what I can figure out. So it's about 8:30 now. So we're going to go ahead and pollinate these. If you can't do it at that time in the morning, then just do it earlier than that if you can, or later in the evening. I think avoiding it in the heat of the day is really what they're saying is the best practice. So these corn silks are fertile for about the first 10 days from the time that they emerge. So we're going to go ahead and get this done, and I will probably do it a couple of times just to ensure pollination for these. So here we go. So what I like to actually do is I like to take some scissors and I like to just snip it at the base, and then I'll take this portion and just tap it over top of the silk. So that's going to be hard to do with one hand. So I'm going to put the camera down for just a minute. So here we go. I've cut this one off, and actually the pollen started flying out of it whenever I snipped it off. So what we're going to do is we're going to go down here, and I'm going to go to this little hidden one in the back, This one down here is kind of hidden under some leaves, so I'm going to hit this one first, and I'm just going to take it and dab it onto all the silks I can. Then I'm going to do the same thing up here and here, even though this one is really super small right now. Okay, so I have hit all three of those. Another way that you can do it that I hear people talking about all the time, and I have never done it with anything, but you can hold some newspaper, a brown paper bag, or something underneath it, tap it, and get the pollen out. You can use a glass jar, anything like that, and then take a paintbrush, get the pollen on it, and then go to your silks and use the paintbrush to dab it on there. I think it's just easier to cut one of the anthers off and then just dab it over the silk. And so I'm going to go over here and do the same thing. I don't know if you could see on camera or not, the pollen fly everywhere whenever I snip that off. So one good thing about the corn that I have intermingled by accident is that they are going to grow, they're going to develop at two different times. So the glass gem corn, which is right here on the front, it does not have the silks producing yet. It also does not have any of the anthers coming out of the top, which is the male portion of the plant. So that's a good thing. So there's not much chance that my red corn will pollinate with the glass gem corn, which is a great thing. So there you have it, just a quick little video on how to do some hand pollination with some corn. So there it is. I'm excited about getting some corn, you guys. So I hope you all have a great day. God bless you and good luck in your gardens.